Again, thank you all for joining this morning's webinar with SEP and Oracle for our best backup and recovery practices with SEP Sesam and Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. With that said, I'd like to introduce Russell Wine, CEO of SEP Software. With that, Russell, I got you mouse controls and hand it off to you.
Thank you very much, Lucas. So again, welcome everyone for joining today on the phone on the webinar with us. We have John Priest from Oracle and Klaus with us as well from our senior sales engineer. He's going to be giving us a short demo. So John, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here, Russell, and looking forward to the session today.
Awesome. Hopefully you can all see that, if you take a little note, it's the world we live in with video conferencing today. Of course, my photo is pre the world we live in today. And, hopefully you guys can get some enjoyment of, the entertainment here from the hair value. Klaus, I'd like you to say hello to everybody as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me. Hello to everybody. And I'm really looking forward to give you some live demonstration of our product.
Thank you, Klaus. So very quickly, some housekeeping items for us. Lucas, could you forward to the next slide, please? So as we look at the quick agenda for us, a little housekeeping, all the microphones are muted for the audience. Please feel free and submit questions via the chat. That is being monitored, and we do have a section at the end for questions and answers to make sure we get those clarify anything from the presentation today. So quick agenda. We're going to be, talking about who SEP is. Of course, I'm Russell Wine, CEO of SEP USA, and talking to you from America. Klaus, of course, Senior Product Sales Engineer, is out of Germany in our headquarters. But we're going to be going through who we are, talk about some backup and recovery best practices. I think it's a good starting place for everyone to remind us, what are we doing? Some data protection considerations. John's going to be taking over and talking about Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, what it is and how it works. We're going to go over some licensing models, and then Klaus will do a quick demonstration. So who is SEP? SEP is an enterprise backup software company with our headquarters and development and escalation support for North and South America out of Germany. Great team there. Company's been in business for over 25 years. You're probably saying, man, I've never heard of SEP. I like to say we're the best kept secret in the backup world. We've received numerous awards on our support and our technical expertise, and we have industry partners that are without match. Again, we're here today with Oracle, who we've been partners with for some time. Next slide, please. Where are we located? So today you're talking to myself. We're here out of Denver, Colorado. And of course, Klaus is out of Germany today. Thank you for staying up late, Klaus. And sales and support for North and South America is handled out of the US. Sales and support for the rest of the world and development is handled out of Europe. So, as you look at the map here, 25 years experience, we're adding thousands of customers a year, and we work and scale from small to the enterprise. That means just from a couple nodes to thousands of nodes. It's quite the software. Next slide. So let's talk a little bit about backup and recovery best practices. So one of the things that you should consider as you're looking at your data, especially with how we're working today. Lots of folks are remote. Who and where, what is your data? Where and what is it? Not all data should be created equal. Not all data should be treated the same. So as you look at it, you got to ask yourself, where's my data? What type of data is it? And who has access to it? Are there any compliance factors to factor in? Are you in the financial industry? Are you in the banking industry? What is your data? Are you maybe small local government? There are regulations that cover how long data should be kept and how it should be treated. Thing to keep in mind is backup is an important part of an overall disaster recovery plan. It's a small portion. So whether you're going to lose as you work on the disaster recovery plan with your company, backup is a small piece of it. And it's important that as you go from time to time to test the disaster recovery plan. Also keep in mind to test your backups. And from time to time, I've heard people that test their backups weekly, but at a minimum, you should be trying to do a restore once a month, at least once a quarter. But again, depends on the data type and the importance of it. RPO and RTO, recovery point objective, recovery time objective. Do you even care? Some companies may not. If you are just a small mom and pop shop that maybe is working somehow, the data is not that important. Maybe you don't care about recovery point objective. If you were in the banking industry, financial industry, government, and most places, you have that factored in as well. So most importantly, backup is important. Recovery is most important as well. How do you recover? When do you recover? How long is it going to take you to recover? And depending on the data, actually talks to what methodology you can use. It's just a quick little study here from 2014, but it's still valid to this date. How much it costs a data outage, data loss actually costs a company. If you're curious on how to factor that in, you can probably go talk to your CFO and say, hey, just curious, what does an hourly being out of business for 1 hour or 1 day or 1 week really mean to the company? And again, it's going to come back to the type of data and the type of work that's done. So RPO, RTO, optimism, and what are they? So as you look at your recovery point objective, let's think about this. A bank opens in the morning at 8 a.m. Maybe they get hit by ransomware or a malware attack around 10 a.m. How many transactions can they lose in that time from when they're hit by the attack to when they actually recover? And most people have that down to minutes. So as you look at those type of things, can you afford to be recovering from off-site, from data, from a backup, if you need to be up within minutes? So your recovery point objective is, when can you get back to? Your recovery time objective, of course, is how much time should it take to recover the system? It's good to have the idea that I should be able to restore within 5 minutes. I should be able to recover seamlessly. But if you don't test it, you really don't know. Most plans from a backup and disaster recovery standpoint get tested during the actual event itself. It's better to test before to actually define that. And again, it goes back to your data types. We recommend classifying your data as a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 type of data. Something that needs to be recovered quickly and immediately. Something that can take maybe a portion of a day. And then lastly, something that can maybe take up to 24 hours or longer to recover. Next slide. So data protection methods. I think in the industry, and everyone here on the call, hopefully we're familiar with these topics here. I'm having a little problem with my mouse. I appreciate the patience, folks dealing with me. Replication, high availability, snapshots, backup to disk, backup to tape. Replication, of course, its ones and zeros are replicated across the LAN or the WAN to another system or another site. It's important to note that replication, while a form of backup and data protection, can also replicate a ransomware or malware attack or a deletion. So replication is one method of protecting your systems and your data. High availability, next level, you actually have two systems running side by side or across the LAN WAN connection. And at this point, when you're looking at that, when one system goes down, the other system takes over. This is an important concept when it comes to patching, updates, an unscheduled outage, something that takes over, no interruption, no need to trigger a recovery event. Snapshots. I think snapshots is a huge, huge benefit to everyone. As you look at for development and test, similarly, let's just roll back to a previous snapshot. Snapshot is a good way to come back. It's a good way to test, but again, it's not a backup. And if you do have an event that triggers a recovery need, a snapshot may not be the way to come back. Of course, for speed, and I think everyone would agree, backup to disk, backup to solid state disk, it's about speed at that point and speed for recovery. But do you need to keep all of your data backed up to disk? Is it important? If the cost is not a factor and you can get it down to the point to where you need to. Disk is a great way at solid state or spinning to recover as a first stage. Back up to tape, it's still a recommended solution. And as far as recovering from a true recovery, backing up from tape, the ransomware, malware attacks, or even offsite. Then we get to the next level and we start talking about offsite replication to the cloud and offsite backup to the cloud. And those are both public or private. And as you look at that, it always comes down to, remember, what is your data? Where is your data? And what type, how do we recover from it? If you're backing everything off to the cloud for a backup as a tape or a deep archive as a secondary site, you have to consider, what is the recovery? What happens in my disaster recovery plan if I need to recover potentially a petabyte of information? And these are the reasons why I also mentioned to test. Next slide, please. So let's talk about what causes the loss of data. You're looking at one of the biggest loss of data. I think from my own personal life, I can think of when I've misplaced stuff, when I've lost things, and then I take that to the electronics and my information. Have I lost electronic photos? Have I lost simple data that I should have? These protection considerations, as we're talking for enterprises and corporations, also should apply for your home life. Where's your data? Human error is the #1 cause, and this is whether it's on accident or on purpose. Hardware failure, data corruption, software failure, cyber attack, and then natural disasters. Even this year with the, you look at record hurricanes, fires, and all those disasters and everything else that we're dealing with this year, natural disasters still only accounts for only 2% of total data loss. Human error is the #1, and then on down. And that has stayed the same with a few percentage points here and there over the past 15 years at least. Next slide. So as you go more and more, this is the important part. As you're sitting here and you're responsible with data, you are also responsible for your coworkers' job. If you are the person responsible for backups, disaster recovery, high availability, retention, and keeping systems running, data loss, it's a proven fact that companies that lose their data are out of business. They don't recover. It's an important aspect. Data drives our life nowadays. Applications drive our life. To lose your data and be out of business, it's quite hazardous. We had a customer share with us. They were hit by a ransom attack, architectural firm. They did not pay the ransomware money off. They lost all their data. They had to reach out to their customers each individually for copies of the data the customers had. And then the customers didn't have the copies. That company went out of business. It was too late after the fact. Again, please test your backup and disaster recovery plans and test it often. Next. So what is SEP Sesam? Well, you've heard me talk about who SEP is. SEP Sesam is our actual backup and disaster recovery product. It's a single solution for the entire enterprise. And when I say that, I mean virtual, physical, cloud applications, offsite replication, dedupe, and disaster recovery. It covers from the small to the enterprise. It was designed with the enterprise in mind. As time went on and virtualization came forward, we got into the virtualization world. And I would say we support more virtualization applications, platforms out there than anyone else. That's why we're here talking to you today about Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. Performance, hands down, I would say give us a test drive if you're thinking, hey, I'm looking at a backup product and it needs to be fast. People deploy backup products and they set it and they forget it. As data grows, what happens with the product? Is it designed to scale? Is it designed to give me more bandwidth? To combine, the way we combine our multi-threading technology with our streams really gives us the performance at that top high-end terabytes, petabytes level, especially with adding our dedupe technology. Reliability, one of the best things, a couple best things about our software. One, it's designed by German engineers. Two, that speaks to the reliability of it. Our customers rave about our support. When they do have an issue, it's taken care of quickly, efficiently. Most of the time it's set and forget. Some customers go long times. They continue to test their backup product, but the reliability is without peer. And as I say that, I also want to make point of, it's one thing for a company to say, hey, we support Oracle, or we support these different applications out there. For us, we not only support the latest and greatest because of our architecture, Klaus will talk to that a little bit, but also because of how we maintain previous versions. Lots of times I hear from customers who are telling me, I can't upgrade to the latest and greatest version of Oracle because our backup product doesn't support it. Likewise, we can't upgrade to the latest and greatest because this application will only run in this solution. Likewise, we have an extensive support, and I can share with you that link at the end of the webinar. Cost. I like to say the best total cost of ownership there is. So twice the performance, half the cost is a good rule of thumb, depending on your data sizes, but we'll stand by and we'll go into licensing models in a little while. But as far as the licenses go, we have something for the small, the medium, and the enterprise. Next slide. So where do we fit? I talked about this a little bit on the last slide, but if you look at this, virtual environments of any size and type, backup servers with any operating site, I would say Linux is where we came from as our core, as our heart, but we also support Windows as far as a backup server. If you want a Linux server or a backup server, a Windows server, that is your choice. We give you that flexibility. But as far as backup operating systems, quite extensive. Applications, SAP applications, heavy support with SAP, Linux environments of any size, databases, quite an extensive list, and instant recovery and application backups for most things. Again, we use the open APIs, so it makes us have the ability to tie in with the applications very quickly. Next slide. So this is the overall architecture of the product. So as you look at it, this is the main data center here in the center, and you have the backup server, you have media, whether it's disk or tape, you have all your servers. Those are either physical or virtual. You may have some remote sites that are small, medium, or large, and you might actually back up to a second data center or also off to the cloud. As you look, we have an administration GUI for setup and configuration, possibly if you need to do some scripting, but most of the time not. We have a dashboard and our self-service restore wizard. You can actually give users the ability to restore their own data. The dashboard and the UI, Klaus will show just a little bit, but that's where you spend most of your time. The important thing to talk about, whether it's any virtualization product, is that the dashboard gives you the same look and feel, whether you're using one virtualization platform or another. Most enterprises have multiple virtualization platforms based on application needs. We also support our S3 connector backing up to AWS, and we have cloud protection for Office 365, G Suite, and Salesforce. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, multi-hypervisor support, unified look and feel from the backup window. That's what's important. Today, you may be a large VMware shop. Tomorrow, you may be considering Oracle Linux Virtualization and Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. The important thing about your backup product is it's the same. As you look at this, it just continues as we continue to release more and more support across all the hypervisors, and it's the unified look and feel in our admin and our self-restore wizard. Next slide, please. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to John. John, thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you, Russell. Appreciate it, and appreciate the introductions. And hello, everybody again, and thanks for joining. I'm going to start with Oracle Linux because any discussion around Oracle Linux virtualization really needs to start at the Oracle Linux level. And what I'd like to do is just share with you a little bit of insight into what Oracle Linux and our Oracle Linux virtualization offerings are and how we integrate and work very nicely with products such as SEP Sesam, due to the fact that we are an open source product and our API is open, and we'll get into some of that. But starting off here from an Oracle Linux perspective, We've been in the Oracle Linux business for over 12 years now. We are big proponents of open source project, the Linux kernel being one of those, but there's many others that we work with, including cloud native products like Cryo and Kata containers. There's a whole host of cloud native compute foundation products that we work with as well. And the key thing here is that we've been in the business for a long time, and we've got tens of thousands of enterprises that are running Oracle Linux in their environments today. So we're very widely deployed. We also use these products that I'm going to talk about within our own Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is our second generation cloud, OCI. So very widely deployed, very robust, very scalable, and high performing both Oracle Linux operating system as well as the Oracle Linux virtualization. So first piece is, what is Oracle Linux virtualization? If you're not familiar with it, we've got two key components that we deliver. Both of these components are free to download, free to use. There's no license tied with that. And I'll probably say that a couple times during the session today, but it's very important that there's really no lock-in with our product. We make them available. We also have open APIs that allow us to integrate, as I said earlier, with products such as SEP Sesam. But the two key components here are the Oracle Linux KVM component, which is our hypervisor. This comes as part of our Oracle Linux distribution, so it's Oracle Linux 7 specifically, with our Unbreakable Enterprise kernel. We also offer more advanced versions, upstream versions of QEMU and libvirt as part of the solution, but all these components are available today. They're, again, part of our Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which are the second generation cloud. So we use it within our own cloud. We distribute this enterprise quality KVM hypervisor to you in the, anybody that wants to use it. So it's widely available and it's free to download, free to use. The piece that we add on top of this is our Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. This allows you to manage multiple KVM hosts. It allows you to set up things like your virtual networking within your server virtualization, attach storage, launch virtual machines, but it's the single management console that you can go to do all of your server virtualization tasks. We do use another open source project here. We use the Overt project, which is an open source project that's been available for roughly 10 years now. That's the base. But as we do with all of our open source projects here within Oracle, we thoroughly test those open source projects. We test the Overt project, we build it on our own, and we also have our support team to stand behind it in case there are any questions that come in or any issues that are seen in the field. But this release becomes our Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, and it's part of a very simple offering that we have, which is our Oracle Linux Premier Support. Again, no license associated with the product. It's a support model, so you would purchase your Oracle Linux Premier Support to cover your KVM server. It also covers your manager and covers any number of Oracle Linux guests that you want to run within that environment. And then just to give you a pictorial representation of what that solution is, you've got the manager. You can see the admin dashboard there, which gives you the single place you can go to do all of your tasks, whether it's launching VMs or setting up policies, doing live migration in your environment. You use the manager for that. There is a REST API that gets exposed there, which I'll get into in just a minute here also. But from this point, you're going to be adding your KVM host. I'm showing Oracle Linux KVM 7.7, 7.8. We also support 7.9, which is the latest Oracle Linux 7 release. You can have any number of hosts here that you want to manage from that single user interface. And then you're launching your guest VMs on top of that. You've got Oracle Linux, Red Hat, CentOS, SUSE, Ubuntu, Windows Desktop, Windows Server, and you can see all the different releases that we support here. So very many different choices here depending on which applications you want to run in this environment and which guest OS that you want to run within that. So we offer you the flexibility and the choice for your operating system needs. If I look a little bit deeper into what Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager is, I've already talked about the first couple bullets there. Here's the third bullet here, the availability of our code. So you can go to our Oracle Linux Yum server today. It's yum.oracle.com. You would drill down into the Oracle Linux 7 channel that's there, and then go into the Overt 43 channel to get the RPMs that you need to install Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. wide open. You're not challenged for any license. There's no trial license. You can use the product. You can install it today. So it is open. If you want to take a look at that, I suggest you go to the site that's here. And you can also go to our documentation that's posted. There's an Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager documentation library. Best place to get into the product is with our Getting Started guide. This will give you all the instructions to do the installation of both your Oracle Linux KVM hosts and your Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. But then there's also a wide library here that gets into release information, capacities and scalability information, administration, how you would do things like set up your hosts, set up your clusters, set up your data centers, set up your virtual networking, all part of the documentation set that we offer as a standard product here. Feature functionality wise, so Russell showed you earlier a number of different virtualization technologies, and we compete very effectively with them from a feature standpoint. All the key virtualization features that you need within your data center are part of the product. And there's really, again, there's no license keys. So if you want to use things like the snapshot functionality that we offer for backup and restore. So Russell was talking earlier about the need to do snapshots. You know, we support snapshots of running VMs, and that's a standard feature. It's part of the product. Role-based access, cluster storage, you know, basic features like live migrations and virtual appliance importing, exporting. All that's part of the product. It's all covered underneath that Oracle Linux Premier support that I talked about earlier. So key feature support, you know, your standard table stakes features that you need within your data center are part of the product, as well as a number of advanced features that we are offering. And this is where you're going to see some growth here within the product, where we're going to continue to add more advanced feature support that we'll get into with future releases. Key to the product here. So I showed earlier the admin dashboard. Here's a little bit of a blow up of what it looks like. So this is what you would see when you launch Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager and log into the administration dashboard. You can see that this gives you one place to go to see the health and status of your entire virtualization configuration or deployment within your data center. You can see the host, you know, all the hosts. In this case, I've got 70 hosts that are being managed by this single manager. It does scale up higher than that there, but you can get upwards of 70 that I'm showing here. And you can see that you can drill down into the different hosts. So you can go into the host views or go into the cluster view. On the left-hand side, you see some menus that allow you to build out your virtual networking or attach storage and build storage data domains that you need to house your virtual disks. All that can be done in simple workflows, very logical workflows that you work through to build your networking, build your storage, attach your host, and then start launching your virtual machines on top of that. It's a very intuitive workflow. But the admin dashboard that I show here, it gives you more than just the drill down capability. It gives you status. You can see also that you've got events. If there's any events that have been raised within the system, either job status or things that you need to address within your environment, those are all part of the screen here in your admin dashboard, and you can drill down to get further information. The other thing that you can do within this product is not just manage the hundreds of hosts that I showed you earlier, but you can manage thousands of virtual machines. So a little snip here of your admin dashboard that shows you the ability. In this case, I'm running 5,000 virtual machines within a single manager. So you've got the ability to scale very highly from your host and your virtual machine perspective. And if you want to drill down from that point to get into more information about your virtual machines, you can open up the virtual machine view. And there's a few different ways to get there. But if I just clicked on that little circle that you're seeing on the upper part, the red circle, click on the virtual machine section, drills you down into the virtual machine to see all of your VMs and some status information about those. Brief information. You can drill down even further to get more information about how much virtual RAM do you have assigned to that virtual machine? How many virtual CPUs? What type of CPU is it running on? So all that information is available to you to both view, but also edit and use for your administration needs. I mentioned earlier that this is all covered underneath Oracle Linux Premier. So we've got a single support agreement that allows you to do a few things. One is you're going to get coverage 24/7 with our engineering team that's global. We span the globe, so we follow the sun. Wherever you are, we will be able to cover you in your time zone. Also, if you have any issues, let's say you're running Oracle database on top of Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, and it's determined to be a database issue that you're encountering, we will collaborate with the database team. We will launch SRs for the database piece, so you don't even have to do that. We'll work behind the scenes to ensure that we cover you from everything from your Oracle hardware that you're running on, your Oracle applications that you're running, or your Oracle virtualization are part of this coverage. But the other key thing is that it's a simple support agreement as well, that let's say you've got 20 hosts, 20 Oracle Linux KVM hosts that you want to manage within your environment with Oracle Linux KVM. You're just going to have 20 support subscriptions that covers all of your hosts. It covers the manager that you're going to need to manage those hosts. It also covers any instance of Oracle Linux that you run within a virtual machine in that environment. So you could have 200 virtual machines running in that environment, all running Oracle Linux. It's all covered by those just the 20 support agreements that I mentioned earlier. So very simple from a deployment model, very simple from a support perspective model. When I look at the value that we offer, so this gets into really where we shine as far as a server virtualization technology, the software certifications, and also the rapid application deployment. I kind of bundle those two together because if you're running Oracle database, if you're running eBusiness, if you're running PeopleSoft, we work very closely with those teams to ensure that they run optimally within our Oracle Linux KVM offering. But you also have the ability then to take our database templates, which are pre-canned versions of Oracle Database, Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, RAC, all available with a template, which is a prepackaged version of that database with the guest OS, which is going to be Oracle Linux, and also configuration scripts and steps that you're going to need to get up and running very quickly and without any errors. We know how to set up database, so we package that all into a template so you don't have to worry about that. So very close integration with our applications teams. Things like hard partitioning support to allow you to optimize your application, your Oracle application licensing. Also CaseSplice, the ability to patch the components of your Oracle server virtualization technology, things like your Unbreakable Enterprise kernel, your QEMU component, some of the user space packages that are part of that KVM host can be patched for security and bug fixes without having to take any downtime. So you do not have to reboot your server to maintain security. So those are some of the key things that we offer. And I think probably the key thing, really related to today's discussion, I talked about the snapshot capability that we offer. The other key thing is the open API and the partner ecosystem that we can integrate with. SEP being a great example there, where we do not fork from the overt upstream product. That's really important because when partners such as SEP have done integrations with overt, we find it's a very quick, very simple integration effort to add Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. So there's a large community of partners that have built integrations to the open API that's exposed by the overt project. We take advantage of that, and we offer that also from Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. So with the SEP product, it was a very simple task of moving from an overt instance to an Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager instance, and very quickly we have the agreement that we're fully integrated and fully certified across our products. So that's something that we look very highly upon within our product portfolio, and that's why we use the open source projects, is we've got the large ecosystem that we can tie into. So with that, I think we're going to go to Q&As right now to kind of, or actually a license model. So I think, Russell, you're back on. We might talk about some Q&A. We still have the demo to go through, but I'm going to hand it back to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Awesome job. We do have a couple questions, and I would encourage people to please do send some more. One of the questions that came up, which is important, John, while I have you here, is KVM plus OLVM a viable substitute for VMware? If it is, how can I migrate my VMs to KVM?
So the first question, the answer to that is yes, it is a viable, alternative. We've got customers that are making the shift from VMware or other hypervisors into Oracle Linux KVM for the value that I talked about earlier, the fact that you can, take your database instance and do things like use Oracle hard partitioning for the licensing. So yes, it is viable. Yes, it is competitive. We've got feature parity across the solution. The other thing that we offer with our Oracle Linux KVM and Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager is the integrations with the partners. So again, because we've got the open API, we can offer you your choice on your backup or your configuration or your fault performance management tools that you want to use there. It's a very simple migration process. We offer the tools to migrate across from VMware into Oracle Linux KVM as well. So that's really the first step, is moving from Oracle, from your VMware, let's say, into Oracle Linux KVM. And then we've got the integration that's available to you to connect with SEP Sesam to do your backup and restore on that.
Thank you, John. As another question for you, one of the questions came up here. You mentioned that there's no license for Oracle Linux KVM or OLVM. Where can I read more about the Oracle Linux Premier support offering?
Yeah, so on the end of the presentation, you're going to see some links that get you to some more information about Oracle Linux, Oracle Linux Virtualization. Like I said, you can Google Oracle Linux Premier Support and you'll come to our support site that gives you the information about what you'd need to add Oracle Linux Premier Support to your server, so you get full support for Oracle Linux KVM and Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, plus all the K-Splice, the Cloud Native Compute Foundation products that we offer there. So it's a very comprehensive offering. It's all part of our website. You can go there and grab the information.
Awesome. Thank you. And folks, everybody that's joining the webinar, you'll be provided with links and the recording of this webinar at the end, so you can refer back to it. There's a couple backup questions, but I think that'll be answered as we go through this next couple slides and Klaus gets his little demo. And if not, we'll answer those. So we keep the questions coming, whether it's the Q&A section or via chat. So very quickly, as you look at the license models, as I mentioned, whether you're small, whether you're very large, or whether you're socket-based, we have license models that will fit your needs. We can answer more about this later on, but let's go ahead and move into the presentation. I'm going to turn this over to Klaus. Just very quickly, Klaus Riem, Senior Sales Engineer out of Germany. Thank you, Klaus. Over to you.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me clearly and you maybe also see my face out of Germany here, and I'm happy to show you a little bit of our software and to show you the power of our software. To give you a little bit of an overview, I would like to start with our graphical user interface. It's a Java-based graphical user interface for configuration and setup, and the real power is on the left side in the main selection. And over here you go.
Hey, Klaus, really quick, hate to interject, Klaus. We can't see your screen here.
Yeah, hold on a second.
There we go. Perfect.
That's better, I think. Yes. Cool. And I've talked about the main selection on the left side. And here you specify all the components of your backup infrastructure, all the clients you would like to back up, the data stores, your disk storage, the loaders, and so on, the media pools. That's all over here. Under tasks, you specify the details of the data you would like to back up. If it's a virtual machine snapshot, if it's a departition of Windows, or if it's a image-based backup of a Linux machine, whatever, that has to be specified under task. Then you can automate all your backups. That's under scheduling. And the rest is kind of health checks, monitoring, reporting, statistics, log files, debug files, finding out if something went wrong with the backups, what went wrong. So just to give you an example of the power and the broad support matrix of our software, I would like to show you the data store tab over here. And here you can see that we can use a disk storage, whatever interface or API you might use. If it's NFS or if it's CIFS or a UNC path or fiber channel, no matter, you can use it as a disk storage for your backup data. But you can, with just a single click, switch on our integrated deduplication and use it as a deduplication store. Or you can use NetApp storage snapshots, or you can use the HPE store once via the Catalyst interface. So that's all available. There are lots of choices for your enterprise environments. Here you see a little bit of how much data is already stored on your disk storage, and this helps to really estimate when you have to extend and buy new storage, for instance. Yeah, so if we move on to the task, and in our demo environment, we have a lot of databases and hypervisors installed for demonstration purposes. And just to give you a little insight into the real power, let's just search for Oracle. And if you look at that, there's an Oracle database, and the task type is Oracle. And here we have Oracle installed in a VMware system. So, you know, I just can tell of a customer I just recently he's using Oracle on Oracle Linux, and Oracle Linux running in an OLVM environment. Then it's really the full Oracle stack, and this customer is definitely happy that he can use a powerful backup software like SEP Sesam for his environment to cover the complete stack. And it's not a single server environment of Oracle, it's an Oracle RAC installation. So you really have several virtual nodes, and we cover the complete environment. But you can also look for other applications. Here we have search for SAP. You see that we are also able to do some HANA backups. We can do a Linux image-based backup of the operating system for disaster recovery, creating from this ISO image then a boot media like a DVD or a USB stick or something like that. And that's available for Windows as well as for Linux. And this is really necessary. If you have a HANA installation running definitely on Linux, then you not only need to protect the database, you also have to protect the operating system. And therefore you need some Linux BSR for the physical hosts, or if it's running in a virtual environment like OLVM, then you need to do snapshots of the virtual machines. And if you scroll down, you see we also have an agent for ASE, so there are lots of data. But if you search for something like OES, that's the old Novell world, I would say. Yeah? This is also not only the NSS file system, it's the complete software stack on top, no matter if it's eDirectory, if it's group-wise, if it's iFolder, everything is covered with our software. You won't believe it. If you have a look at our support matrix, you will see that everything is protected. DB2, Microsoft SQL, MySQL, and so on. So this can easily be found here in our demo environment. Now let's go on with the OLVM. And of course, we have a OLVM installation in our environment. We have this kind of tree structure. It's completely up to you to configure this structure according to your needs, departments, responsibilities, locations, whatever criteria you would use for this structure. And here you see that we really support a lot of hypervisors. Russell has already talked about this and mentioned this topic. And we have a Citrix environment, Hyper-V, you can see it. And we also have an OLVM environment. And you have to configure the management host of this environment. And you need a data mover to attach the virtual disks for the backup streams. So this is the necessary environment. And if you look at the properties of this management host, then you see that it's configured as the REF management server. Well, to be honest, here it's REF because it's this is a kind of history, because Red Hat Virtualization is using a similar open source technology, the OVIRT technology. That's the fact of being open source. And but we have extended it to the OLVM support, and in the future, we definitely will distinguish more in our graphical user interface between the Red Hat installation and the Oracle installation, and to be more precise about this. Yeah, if you configure the backup of a virtual machine, then just click on New Backup Task, and it always opens on the wrong screen. So I have to shift this dialog box to the active screen. You see that there are a couple of entry fields here, the task type, and this is also remembering our support matrix, our broad support matrix. But you can use our client browser with this little arrow, and then you see exactly by talking to this OLVM management server, we extract the information about the virtual machines. Here you see which virtual machines are available, and the properties, the attributes, if it's up and running. So, and then you can just click on one of the VM, and then click on OK. That's here with all the information, and then OK, this would be the task, would create the task. We have already created some tasks over here, you can see. And what you need most is a restore, and the restore can really easily be done by our web UI. There's a link to our web UI from here. It uses the same credentials because I had to log into our GUI to have specific rights. I'm logged in as an admin currently, and with the same credentials, the web UI will be opened. And here you can see the web UI for the restore. You can restore single files, or you can restore from all the hypervisors which are installed in our system, which have backups available for restore. And I have the choice for this overt technology over here, which is usable for the Oracle installation, which we have here, the Oracle management host. And just to show you, here are other virtual machines which are protected by our software on this ref management host. Here we have one single VM. We click on next, and then we see the available backups. There are 3 backups available. This is the virtual disk, the configuration data, and then we can select from which backup we would like to restore. Click on next, and then you can select which management server, could be a separate management server, another one, what's the name of the virtual machine, and so on. So a lot of options over here, but it's absolutely easy to manage without reading any manual or complicated stuff. You can make it more complicated, definitely, because this is the basic mode. You can go to the advanced mode, and then you will have more kind of expert options, I would say, like the options for restore, if you would like to run a prescript or a postscript or set the log level. So these are kind of expert options. Normally, the basic mode is definitely enough and makes it really smooth, comfortable, and easy to work with.
Hey, Klaus.
And just,
Klaus, if I can
yes,
interrupt for 1 second.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Lots of great detail. We had a question come through chat, and it sort of goes to this point. You showed us how to set up and configure a backup. What happens if I'm managing thousands of VMs? Do I have to add each VM virtual machine backup separately?
You have several options. The first option is that you run a little script, because we have lots of interfaces, command line interface, REST API. If you don't want to, you don't even have to use our GUI, because customers have lots of external tools very often for displaying system data, Nagios, CheckMK, and others which are using our REST API. You can use the command line interface. You can use our automatic VM detection mechanism, so that before running a VM backup, it looks at the system if there are new VMs, and then you can create, specify rules which will automatically create new tasks when it detects new virtual machines.
So back to John's point of doing a V2V migration of potentially thousands, you now have a new situation where you have machines potentially not being backed up. At that point, you simply run that auto detection and you can assign new policies to them. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. Another question for you, Klaus. This was answered. Does our backup product support backing up to the cloud via S3? And are there any limitations to that?
Yeah, this is possible. And if we look at the data stores over here, you see that we can create a new data store, and then we will specify at which backup server or RDS we have this data store, and then you select the deduplication store, which will use our own deduplication. If you select this, then you see that this tab pops up, and here you can specify S3 credentials so that the deduplicated data will be replicated to any S3 target like AWS or any Ceph based object storage, local object storage for archiving data and so on. That's all possible with this.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're getting close to the end of the time, and we have a couple more questions to go over. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight to us from the GUI?
Yeah, I just would like to add two things. And the first thing is that we also have the possibility to do a single file restore from a VM backup. So you can mount the virtual disks and do a single file restore. This really helps in terms of restore performance, because you really have to transmit only a few data if you do a single file restore. And currently we are in the development phase of supporting overt 4.4, and there is also the CPT functionality for doing incremental backups, and this will also come with our software in the near future, that we will also support CPT for incremental backups. I think these are cool highlights for our software for supporting OLVM.
That's awesome that you highlighted that, because that was one of the questions. Do we support single file restore to that? So thank you, Klaus.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll go back over to this PowerPoint.
So I will stop sharing.
You stop sharing, Klaus. Thanks again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
So on the next slide here, we've got a couple more questions. John, this one is for you. We have an upcoming project moving from VMware to Oracle Virtualization. What would you recommend first? Deploy a new backup solution first or after?
You can go either way on that. For the migration itself, if you look at, there was a question within the Q&A window within Zoom here. You guys can see that the question was answered. And there's also, I think, Russell, you put that there, the link to the blog, which gets you the migration process that you would run through to migrate your VMs from VMware into Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. You can also automate that. So you talked about automating the process within SEP Sesam. You can also automate the process to migrate your VMs by using scripting to move VMs out of VMware into Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. And then you've got the, you saw the ease of use there from the SEP Sesam side of things to select the VMs that you want to back up, including the virtual disks and everything tied to that VM.
Well, thank you very much. That's awesome. You know, I would add, whether you're going to deploy a new backup solution first or a new virtualization solution first, I think we all know the rule: test your backups regardless, to make sure that you're in good shape before you start that virtual V2V move. One of the questions that came through the chat: can your backup product also support our cloud applications? Cloud applications, I'm assuming you mean O365 or Group One, G Suite, or maybe SharePoint. Those are all supported for cloud application and backup as well. So as I mentioned with our license models before, we have something that can solve pretty much all your backup needs. If you have multiple backup products in your enterprise, one for your cloud, one for your physical, one for your virtual, and maybe one for another one, we can replace all of those, or actually talk about a phased approach to reduce that, because we're all on a point where we're doing more with less. We will share with you, there's a link to our extensive, there was a question regarding hardware, our operating system, and application support. We'll share that link with everyone as well. But with that being said, I think we are at the top of the hour. I'd like to thank John. Thank you very much for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Great to meet up with you guys again and work with you guys. Looking forward to working with our customers out in the field to share with them, how we can actually do their backup and restore in their environment. So yeah, thanks for everything today.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And to share with the group, we're going to be doing more parts of these scenarios. And as Klaus alluded to, that customer that was running a complete Oracle rack of the complete stack and that we are supporting, we're going to be highlighting those cases in the next one. So stay tuned for some more webinars in these series. On the left here, you can see some information regarding the SEP product. On the right, you can see the information from Oracle. You can see us on Facebook, all of us on social media. And again, please stay tuned. This webinar was recorded and it will be sent out to everyone. Thank you, Klaus, for your time. And please tell the German team hello for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will do.
All right, guys. Bye-bye now. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.